By the late 1990s, America's highways were ruled by the Prevost H345, a towering, glass-walled luxury liner that made nearly every other coach on the road look dated. MCI, once the king of durability with its legendary MC9 and dependable 102DL3, suddenly looked old-fashioned. The square corners, flat panels, and no-nonsense styling that had carried the brand through the 1980s no longer fit an era chasing comfort, curves, and class. Inside the company, the question was clear. Could MCI still build something beautiful? Not just a machine that lasted 1,000,000 miles, but one that turned heads at a rest stop and made passengers feel proud to climb aboard. The answer came in 1997, when MCI unveiled the 102EL3 Renaissance. It was their boldest design in decades, a stainless steel monocoque body draped in smooth European lines. 4 years later, it evolved into the MCI E4500, carrying the same sleek DNA but refined and matured. This wasn't a coach built for bargain fleets. It was a flagship, a rolling statement that American engineering could blend muscle with grace. MCI called it Renaissance for a reason, because it marked their rebirth. From every angle, the E4500 looked nothing like the boxy coaches America had grown used to. Its shape was born from a collaboration with DesignWorks BMW, and you could tell. The lines were softer, more fluid, an echo of European touring coaches but anchored in American muscle. The body shimmered with stainless steel, smooth and uninterrupted, as if sculpted by wind and light instead of wrenches and rivets. Up front, a two-piece curved windshield swept back beneath a narrow center pillar, framing the driver's view like the cockpit of an aircraft. The capsule-style headlights, later replaced by projectors, gave the face a focused, modern stare. Along the sides, rounded panels flowed cleanly toward a rear deck, vented with wide engine louvers, a design both elegant and functional for cooling that big diesel heart. Inside, the high-deck floorline elevated passengers above the road, offering longer sight lines and cavernous luggage bays below. Compared with the blunt, practical D-Series, it looked like a starship. Next to the towering Prevost H345, it sat lower, leaner, almost athletic. It struck a balance only MCI could pull off: European grace, American strength, timeless presence. Beneath that graceful body, the E4500 was built like a fortress in motion. Its core was a stainless steel monocoque, an integral structure where the skin and frame worked as one. No truck-style ladder chassis, no separate body to flex and rattle. That design gave it remarkable rigidity and corrosion resistance, a promise that this coach could survive decades of road salt, mountain passes, and coastal humidity without losing its backbone. The suspension matched that same philosophy of refinement. A full air ride system floated the 45-foot coach down the highway, while a steerable tag axle eased its turning radius. No small feat for something nearly 102 inches wide and almost 12 feet tall. Drivers noticed the difference. Tight corners felt easier, high-speed runs felt planted, and passengers felt like they were gliding instead of rolling. Optional disc brakes and ABS rounded out a package aimed at long-haul confidence rather than brute strength. Power came from engines worthy of the badge. The early models ran the Detroit Diesel Series 60, a 12.7-liter straight-six known for its silky torque. 435 horsepower and 1,450 pound-feet, delivered through an Allison B500 or B500R 6-speed automatic. Later coaches adopted the Caterpillar C13 or Cummins ISX, meeting newer EPA standards while keeping that long-distance stamina MCI was known for. Weighing in at roughly 38,000 pounds empty and rated for 54,000 gross, the E4500 wasn't a featherweight, but it handled its mass with grace. On the interstate, it tracked straight and true, the big diesel humming low and steady. It was quiet, composed, almost regal, an American heavyweight that moved like a European dancer. All it asked for in return was care from mechanics who understood just how advanced it really was. But under all that polish, MCI had taken a gamble, one that proved both brilliant and brutal. The E4500 wasn't just stylish, it was packed with technology years ahead of its time. Its steerable tag axle relied on sensors and hydraulic controls, more complex than anything most fleet garages had ever seen. The air ride suspension used electronic height controls instead of simple valves. Even the HVAC system was computer managed, designed to balance cabin temperature through a maze of sensors and relays. Nearly every major function of the coach, lighting, diagnostics, braking, ran through an electronic control network. On paper, it was the future. On the road, it could be a headache. Operators praised the ride but cursed the maintenance bills. A failed sensor could disable the steering tag. A glitchy module might confuse the suspension, and replacement parts were both expensive and hard to find. Many fleet mechanics, trained on analog D-series buses, found themselves wrestling with diagnostic software instead of wrenches. The result was predictable. In 2001, MCI quietly began developing a simpler sibling, the J4500. It carried the same elegant body but stripped away much of the high-maintenance tech. Within a few years, the J-series became the fleet favorite, while the E4500 lived on as the beautiful pioneer that flew just a little too close to the sun. For passengers, the E4500 felt less like a bus and more like a private jet on wheels. The high-deck cabin lifted riders above traffic, giving them a panoramic view of the open road through massive curved windows that flooded the interior with natural light. The wide aisles, soft lighting, and smooth hum of the Series 60 made long trips feel unhurried, almost serene. Comfort was where this coach truly shined. Seats came trimmed in plush fabric or optional leather, with deep recline angles and generous legroom. The HVAC system, though complex behind the scenes, delivered steady, whisper-quiet air from ceiling vents. Overhead panels carried soft LED lighting and drop-down video screens, cutting edge for early 2000s travel. Every detail, from the window shades to the carpet weave, felt built for the kind of people who measured comfort in silence, not volume. And for those who demanded even more, there was the E4500LX, the executive variant. Inside, you'd find rotating lounge seats, conference tables, and a rear galley polished like a yacht interior. It wasn't just transportation, it was a moving boardroom for sports teams, touring musicians, and CEOs chasing horizons. Across North America, the E4500 quickly became the coach of choice for those who wanted to make an impression. Fleets like Coach USA, Peter Pan Bus Lines, Academy, Greyhound Canada, and several Trailways affiliates proudly put them on their premium routes and charter services. It wasn't the bus you booked for a budget tour, it was the one you reserved for corporate clients, sports teams, or government travel when presentation mattered as much as performance. In the charter world, owning an E4500 sent a quiet message. This company plays in the big leagues. Operators called it the flagship coach you buy when image matters. The elegant lines and stainless body drew attention wherever it stopped, while passengers stepped off feeling like they'd ridden something special. Production numbers never matched the workhorse J4500, but that was never the goal. The E4500 was about prestige, a coach less focused on quantity and more on class. Yet for all its elegance, the E4500 came with a price far greater than its sticker. Beneath the stainless skin, the same innovations that made it remarkable also made it fragile. The steerable tag axle, once praised for its agility, was prone to servo motor failures that left the wheel locked or unresponsive. The electrical wiring harnesses, tucked deep within its curved panels, were notorious for moisture intrusion and cracking insulation. Even the electronic HVAC system, so smooth when new, could become a nightmare of failing sensors and mismatched control modules. When EPA 2007 emission standards arrived, things grew even more complicated. Coaches fitted with the Caterpillar C13 brought along EGR and DPF systems that clogged, overheated, and sidelined buses for costly downtime. Mechanics longed for the simpler days of the Series 60, when a bad injector was the worst of your worries. A few years later, a 2013 NHTSA recall over the steering power assist reminded operators that complexity and reliability often walk separate roads. Compared to the bulletproof MC9 or the rugged 102 DL3, the E4500 demanded more care and more cash. It delivered unmatched comfort, yes, but as every fleet learned, beauty always comes with a price. In the high-end motor coach world, the E4500 found itself locked between two giants, one from Quebec, the other from its own family tree. The Prevost H345 stood taller, with its cathedral-like cabin and commanding view of the road. It was the undisputed king of luxury, but also heavier, pricier, and thirstier. The E4500, by contrast, rode lower and smoother, its rounded body cutting cleaner through the air, and its operating costs easier on the books. Operators often said the Prevost impressed the passengers, but the MCI impressed the drivers. Then came the MCI J4500, the E's more practical offspring. It wore nearly the same beautiful body, the same curved glass, same high-deck stance, but with simpler, more reliable systems underneath. The J was the refinement of the E's ambition, a flagship that could actually survive the daily grind. By the time the 2013 facelift arrived, MCI had quietly retired the E-Series, letting the J carry its torch into the modern era. Even so, the E4500's DNA never faded. Its design language defined every MCI coach that followed, and its stainless frame still underpins countless entertainer and RV conversions today. It may have left production, but its silhouette still rolls across America's highways, a legacy in motion. Looking back, the E4500 stands as the bridge between eras, linking the rugged analog world of the MC9 and DL3 to the refined, electronically managed age of the J-Series and everything that followed. It was a bold experiment, one that taught MCI exactly where the line lies between innovation and practicality. And though it wasn't the easiest coach to own, it showed what could happen when engineering dared to dream beyond the ordinary. Its legacy endures in every MCI built since. The stainless monocoque body, the air ride smoothness, the high-deck profile that became the company's signature silhouette. Many E4500s are still on the road today, quietly ticking past 1 million miles, their engines humming the same steady note they did decades ago. Some machines make money, others make history. Ever ridden one of these? Tell your story below. Hit like if you still remember that soft Detroit diesel hum echoing through the night.